Hi, I'm Rob Brantley, kinesiology student at Cal Baptist University. I'm here with my lovely assistant, Mylene Brantley. We're going to demonstrate a preventative exercise that helps prevent rotator cuff injuries. And one of the best ways to help prevent rotator cuff injuries are actually to do exercises that strengthen scap stabilizers or muscles that help stabilize your scapula. This is because the scapula plays an important role in the kinetic chain for shoulder range of motion. Today's exercise is a complex called Y's, T's, and W's. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the proper setup and execution of this complex. Mylene is going to show you the initial setup where the athlete will be facing prone on the physio ball. The first thing that the athletic trainer wants to note is that they're in a good neutral spine position, especially on the unstable surface of a physio ball. That's going to help challenge stabilizer muscles in their core as an added benefit to the exercise. So after you see that the athlete is in the proper position on the physio ball, the first movement of this complex will be the Y's, which is taking the arms and shoulders through a flexion motion, right? So she'll bring her arms all the way up into a motion resembling a Y. This is going to help exercise the upper part of her scap muscles, also known as the trapezius and rhomboids. Also in shoulder flexion, this will help strengthen the supraspinatus, which is the most commonly injured rotator cuff muscle. So from there, after she performs about 5 repetitions of that complex, she'll go directly into the next part, or the next phase, which is the T's. This is taking her arms and shoulders through horizontal adduction in the prone position. This is going to work the mid-scap stabilizing muscles, mid-trap and rhomboids. As you can even see, the scaps protracting and right now retraction and protraction in the eccentric portion of the lift, helping stabilize those scap muscles. After performing about 5 repetitions of those, she'll go into the W's part of the complex. So as she goes through horizontal adduction with her elbows flexed at approximately 90 degrees and then her arms adducted at approximately 45 degrees, the lower portion of her scap stabilizers or lower trap muscles are now being activated the most. So she's able to stimulate all parts of her scap stabilizing muscles in this complex. It's 5 repetitions of each, totaling about 15 repetitions per set. So it ends up being a pretty extensive set, also exercising muscular endurance in those muscles, along with assisted muscles in your rotator cuff. So yeah, this has been, also about two to three sets of this, just because of the volume of reps. Performing this 2 to 3 times a week will be very sufficient. Again, just because of the amount of repetitions is a little bit higher. And that was the Y's, T's, and W's complex on a physio ball. Thank you very much, Manny. Once the athlete has shown proper mastery of the Y's, T's, and W's complex and is ready to try something a little bit more challenging to help strengthen those muscles to prevent rotator cuffs, decelerated plyo catches will be a good next level progression exercise for that. The functional setup of the plyo catches, or the deceleration plyo catches, are similar to that of the Y's, T's, and W's complex, but for this purpose, or at least the way that the exercise is designed, is to help strengthen the muscles that help in the deceleration phase of the throwing motion. This is going to be accomplished by simulating those muscles having to decelerate an object, and in this case it's going to be a weighted ball. So initial setup, the athlete's going to set up in the prone position again on the physio ball. Again, making note of the position of their spine in their initial setup, making sure that it's in neutral, in a stable position. As she is showing a sufficient setup, she's ready to now bring her arm that she's going to be exercising into horizontal adduction about 90 degrees, adducting the shoulder about 90 degrees, and the elbow will be flexed at about 90 degrees, resembling this portion of the throwing motion. She's then going to take the weighted ball, and it's going to be a catch, or a release and catch, in a very quick oscillating formation. So you go ahead and demonstrate a couple repetitions for us. As you can see, she's releasing the ball and having to catch it as it's on its way down, essentially decelerating the ball enough to bring it back up. This again, strengthening those decelerating muscles that are used in the throwing motion on the rotator cuff and in your scapula, as they're both part of the kinetic chain in the throwing motion. These will be, because they're plyometric, or because of the quick oscillations, you don't really measure reps by numbers, but it's quantified by a set and an amount of time. Doing this for 15 to 30 seconds should provide sufficient stimulus or a good burn in the targeted rotator cuff area in the scapula. Doing that for 3 to 4 sets, 2 to 3 days out of the week will be sufficient for stimulating that muscle tissue. Common faults for both the Y's, T's, and W's and lying prone on the physio ball. Athletes will tend to try and compensate by shifting the weight of their back, essentially losing the neutral spine into an extended position to throw the ball up higher, as you can see she's demonstrating there, or again, we're going to try a demonstration in the Y's, T's, and W's, where you'll see she'll be swaying with her back. Just a couple common things that an athletic trainer needs to look for in instructing their athlete to do the movement properly. So thank you very much, Mylene, for helping demonstrate these preventative exercises for your rotator cuff.